to start by asking you the question, when you hear, I am attractive, what is the first reaction in your brain, in your heart, in your soul? Do you feel, that's not me, that's probably somebody else? Or do you feel like, yeah, maybe if I'm in a good mood, then yeah, probably I'm attractive. I want you to sit on this reaction that you have immediately, because that is something that you need to pay attention to, because here in this video today, in week 21 of I Am Attractive from my NHS NeuroHyperSensitivity workbook, we are covering what I am attractive or attractiveness really means in the brain. And what you will learn is actually, I am pretty sure, something that you never guessed in a million years, what it actually means to be attractive in terms of neuroscience, which here we are covering the practical neuroscience, meaning how can you even apply it, the techniques I will teach you today. So hang tight, we will cover it, but I want you to sit in the entire video with that, what reaction did it bring out in you? And then we will learn by the end of this video how to change that. Hang tight.
Step inside the lab, leave the labels behind. Discover the biology of a neurosensitive brain. From the genes to environments, the science is key. Welcome to the truth of neurohypersensitivity, NHS, with Dr. Ayguen Sahin.
Welcome back, everybody. My name is Dr. Ayguen Sahin. Yes, a real scientist of 26 years. I'm a geneticist. I'm a cancer scientist, especially brain cancer research, and I'm also a specialist in cancer immunotherapy. So I know a lot about brain, genetics, and immunology, and I also describe neurohypersensitivity, NHS, as someone who has neurohypersensitivity, and on this channel, which is dedicated only for people with neurohypersensitivity, for learning, research, and bringing this into medical and scientific literature, as well as advocacy and policy changing. So if you haven't already, take the 5-question NHS quiz to see if you qualify to join our NHS community membership. The links are below. So let's first talk about what the brain registers as being attractive, And this is the starting point of the entire video. What does the brain registers as attractive? And the brain registers the attractiveness, guess what? In milliseconds, not in seconds, milliseconds. Maybe you knew that, maybe you didn't, but here is the reality. In a millisecond, a brain can sense if a person is attractive or not. And that registration, in these milliseconds registration, what exactly the brain registers as attractive, that is what the beauty industry is not selling and never has sold to all of us. And that's why we are covering this here today, because being attractive means something completely different in terms of neuroscience and in terms of practical neuroscience. So let's dive in further. So research with ERP, meaning event-related potential brain imaging, show that what happens when a brain registers attractiveness in 2 stages. First, the first stage is salience, meaning, and these are all happening in milliseconds, the brain first registers whether or not this face is worth paying attention to. That's it. Nothing more, nothing less. The second stage is valence. And what that means is the brain registers what is just registered to pay attention to, whether this thing, whether this face to pay attention to is positive or negative. That's it. And that's why I always keep saying when we talk about empath, right? On this channel, we also will talk about empaths, because me as a person with neurohypersensitivity, I call myself a really powerful empath, because I can see through people in a millisecond, as I said, because what? The neuroscience, the brain is wired so differently, and that's the whole point that I'm making with neurohypersensitivity, is our brain are so wired in a way that our brain regions are so active. That's why I want to have more research, more medical research and scientific research made on that, because our brain literally is wired differently. We can sense through everything. I am like that, my dad is like that, and my beloved grandma was like that too. In a millisecond, we could see and feel who is this person, evil or not evil, okay? And so this is exactly what this is about. The brain regions, and we'll talk about the brain regions that actually do that, okay? This is so exciting. So the brain's regions who actually are registering these in milliseconds. So again, salience and valence. And here is what is the brain registering, which brain parts are activated, which circuits. We talked about the circuits all the time in my masterclasses, right? Which brain circuits are activated in terms of attractiveness, and that is the brain's reward circuit. The brain's reward circuit. Let that sink in. So we covered multiple times in the previous master classes up until this week, from week 1 to week 20, the reward circuit. So attractiveness is also activating this reward circuit. This is the region, the same region that is involved in motivation, desire, and moving towards something. Again, we covered this before in my masterclass. So, motivation, desire, and moving towards something. That's the brain's reward circuit. And the attractiveness is also registered with the same brain circuits. And what that means is the brain, once it registers the face worth paying attention to, and then whether or not this face is positive or negative, then it analyzes whether it is worth going towards it or paying attention to and move towards that person. That's it. The brain, again, these are literally the steps in the brain. First, registration of the face, whether it is worth paying attention to, then whether or not that face is positive or negative, and then whether or not to move towards that face, that person. That's it. These are the regions, the circuits activated in terms of attractiveness. Now, let's dive in. What does it mean for you? If you could already tell, attractiveness is not something fixed in your body, in your brain. It is literally a moving part, has a lot to do with you and your brain state, and the science, let me tell you, proved it. Literally recently, in a 2024 Frontiers in Human Neuroscience paper, they have done a phenomenal research, and here's what they did. They stimulated in people the medial prefrontal cortex, and the people who were stimulated with non-invasive stimulation techniques, they were registered significantly more attractive to other people than the people whose medial prefrontal cortex were not stimulated. This literally means that not because suddenly the people have put some makeup on, no, their brain state has changed, okay, from that level where they started at. In that research, obviously, you have a starting point, and then when they got stimulated in the medial prefrontal cortex, their attractiveness level changed significantly. This is so important to understand. Again, how does it translate towards when you ask the question, okay, how did it happen? Because once you stimulate the medial prefrontal cortex, the person, how they perceive themselves, how they carry themselves, their own state changed, and this is why the perception has also changed. by other people. So it was about that person, how the person themselves, because the stimulation of the medial prefrontal cortex has changed of how they see themselves and how to present themselves towards others. And that, my friend, was captured obviously immediately. And we will also talk about later in the video which brain region is activated on the other side to perceive that, okay? From our side and from their side. So two different brain regions here. But from your side, from your attractiveness, how you see yourself, how you present yourself to others, is the medial prefrontal cortex. So the study found that the dysregulation of the medial prefrontal cortex influences the facial musculature such that a person's attractiveness is altered, and these changes occur below the level of one's own perceptual awareness. Let that sink in. This is literally my experience from my own videos for years that I'm doing my channel, and I talked a lot about this on my main channel because I had times when I keep saying that for the last 3 years where I had horrible mental, physical, emotional health issues. And that's how I keep saying it. I founded the Scientist Total Health Transformation Protocol, non-medication whatsoever for people like me with neurohypersensitivity, because none of the specialists at Harvard could help me. Didn't even understand what the issue is. On paper, I look great. But inside, I was dying mentally, physically, emotionally. So I had to rescue my own life, save my own life. So I did all the research to put the protocols together and saved my life. This is why I'm here today. And look like this, okay? Because when you see 3 years ago my videos, I was like, literally, for me, it's just literally what it is. The facial musculature changes because my face, every time inside mental, physical, emotionally, I feel horrible, my face drops 1000%. It drops. It's like, whoa. And then whenever I feel good, mental, physical, emotionally, my gut is in good health and my gut affects my brain, my face literally lifts up and I feel also more youthful and happy and energized, and that changes, my friend. I'm telling you, as I always do, I pay attention to people's faces. You can tell who is bitter, who has a lot of health issues, and who are actually healthy, mentally, physically, emotionally, or in a good mood. You can see it from people's faces. I mean, obviously eyes, yes, but also the facial expression, the musculature changes dramatically. And literally, this science recently has shown. I mean, for me, this science is like 2024, but for me, I already experienced this. This was during COVID, okay? At that time, I still had my Twitter, and those videos are on my channel. So I closed at that time my Twitter, but those videos, the COVID videos, all the advocacy, etc., policy changes, advocacy, they were all on my channel, my main channel. So you can see the difference of my faces. 1000%. So now let's discuss what the brain actually responds to. And this is also from a research study that I will share with you right now, from a meta study covering 990 studies and 15,000 observers. The science showed that in general, people are agreeing across all cultures, across all ages, across all genders, who people find attractive. That is established science-wise. So there's one portion of that that has the fixed version of it. And they found that even a 6-month-old infant stared longer at faces that cultures, across ages and genders, the adults find attractive. And the 6-month-old infants also spend less time staring at faces that adults don't find attractive. So that is a little bit a part that is integrated in someone's body or brain or genetics, okay? But the larger part is what we are describing right now. And again, I can 1000% attest to that. I mean, look around you, right? Sometimes you feel like how this attractive guy is with this girl, or this girl is with this attractive guy, because again, that's not the point, because that's not the major thing. Attractiveness, which we're covering here, is something completely different, and the majority of it is not fixed. And again, I showed you the studies. These are not fixed thing that you have in your personality. Is the way you stimulate your brain and how does it show to the outside. And that's what I'm teaching here right now in practical neuroscience. But at the same time, beside that infant test, the science also consistently showed what attractiveness actually means scientifically. Attractive people are perceived as more intelligent, more competent, more sociable, more trustworthy, and as having a more positive emotional expression. Let that sink in. Okay? So again, these are not, any of this is fixed. This is literally, it's up to you, right? Being social, being positive, have a positive outlook of life. And again, this comes back to total health, right? Mental, physical, emotional. You cannot, and that's why I keep saying I'm pushing for my health regulation audit to check the key elements, major elements of your health, which is your sleep, which is your inflammation status, and we will get to the inflammation, and also your movement. Are you sitting on the couch all day? Okay, so, or are you being active? And doesn't matter what type of activity, but this is literally your key elements of your health so that you can regulate your health. Without health, nothing happens. No attractiveness will happen. I can tell you that for sure. Okay, I just mentioned that. Again, it's about the way you carry yourself, your eye contact, and I will tell you the techniques, like 3 things that you need to do to be actually get activated, to make these regions activated, and how can you be attractive more in the world. But again, it is the eye contact, the interest to other people, how you show up in the world, your brain, right? Are you intelligent? Are you smart? Are you showing that to other people? Again, it's not your makeup, it's not about any of those. Yeah, I mean, it could be, but it's not just that. Is your smile, is your looking at people's eyes, is your genuine interest, what you talk about, right? And you can be the prettiest girl or the prettiest guy, and then you talk literally like trash. And for me, when I see videos like this, I click off immediately. I don't want to engage in that energy whatsoever, because also the outside doesn't match the inside whatsoever. You can see immediately what comes out of your mouth, how your inside is functioning, how is, again, in a millisecond, is it good or is it bad? Is it positive or is it negative, right? Now, let's talk about what actually drives this, what we describe as being attractive from the inside out. Let's discuss that. Let's dive in further. Now, I want you to think about a person around you that you find genuinely attractive. Again, I'm not talking about the Hollywood people, la 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 la. No. People in your environment that you feel like, wow, that person is so attractive. I want you to think about what makes that person genuinely attractive to you. Think about that for a second. Pause the video here if you like and think about that. And when you think about it, most people doesn't describe that person as, okay, that body shape or how that person looks. They generally describe that person to be honest, to be smiling all the time, to be a good person, to be smart, to be intelligent, to generally cares about me, right? Or generally is interested in me, doesn't judge me, or they don't drive the conversation like a resume or a CV, right? What did you do? And what is this and that and that? It's just that the genuine presence of that person, most people describe of that person that they know to be attractive as that. For me is the smile, right? The eyes, that how the eyes are when they look at you, or it's just the aura. I mean, I can't even describe it, what people make attractive. It's just the body, the presence, the walk. That's what I pay attention to, the body language. This is like absolutely makes one attractive. Again, is the confidence that you don't look for the approval of others. It's the warmth, it's the genuine warmth that doesn't come across as fake. It's the energy, that how it makes you feel rather than being evaluated constantly when you are together with that person, right? And again, all of this is not a character, is literally the mental state, the brain state, the neurological state of that person, is literally the medial prefrontal cortex. And again, it's the eye contact, it's the smile, it's the energy, it's the aura. And this is again nothing that you either have or you don't. It's literally your brain's state that you put out. Rather than getting in, you're putting it out, the brain state that you're in. And that's why it is so important to regulate a brain state. And that's what we are covering next. Okay, first, we need to understand what blocks this brain state, right? And this can be, as I said, during COVID time, I was in mental, physical, emotional, horrendous state. It's the chronic stress. It's the inflammation, right? We talked about inflammation. I mean, you need to get the health regulation audit for 1 week. You need to check. And when you work one-on-one with me, beside any of the areas that we talked about, the attractiveness, the beauty, the strength, the richness, whatever your specific issue is that you come to me, we need those audits. I use that raw data, but I also will ask you your health regulation audit. You need to give me that data that only you can fill, because you can feel exactly how your day-to-day life goes, and I need that information to create accurately a personalized program structure or protocol for you. Okay, so I need, beside every week's topics audit, I need that health regulation audit. So if you decide to work one-on-one with me based on your specific situation, let's say if you want to work with me on how can I actually create this brain state to be more attractive, we will talk about the audit here, the attractiveness audit, but I also will need your health regulation audit data, okay? Because why? It's literally, I just said, the chronic stress, the inflammation, the social anxiety even, or sitting on the couch all day, being depressive, right? Those are all mental state. Or if your brain is in constant threat, week 1, I am safe, right? We talked a lot about amygdala and how to calm down the amygdala, and throughout the entire 20 weeks we come back to amygdala, we come back to the threat system, and the dance between the amygdala and the prefrontal cortex, amygdala and prefrontal cortex, and the dance between how can we not function more from the amygdala, from the threat system based on our past experiences, but more from the prefrontal cortex, so that we can actually have a life that we like to live, instead of constantly be on the threat system, operating on the threat system with the amygdala, based on past experiences, based on that creates all of the stress, the chronic stress, the anxiety, and all the inflammation and everything in between. So when all of this happens, then the eye contact becomes avoidant. Your presence when you are with a person becomes a fake performance, just literally faking it. and the people will sense that. We'll get to that, what brain region will sense that from the other person. And then your genuinely warmth or the interest towards the other people becomes a constant, a huge effort that you can't do, and therefore you stay at home because you don't have even the energy. You don't have the power to even genuinely interested in other people because you feel exhausted, you feel it's just too much for you, okay? So this is why the mental state, the brain state has to be absolutely be engaged here. Also your actual health, okay? Now the orbital frontal cortex is actually the region of the other people, how they see and perceive your attractiveness. For us is the medial prefrontal cortex that drives that attractiveness, how we present ourselves towards others, and the orbital frontal cortex is from the other people, how they perceive us in milliseconds. Now let's now talk about the exciting part. If all of this wasn't exciting, what can you do now? Besides, we will do the audit, right? You can download it and you will start working for 1 week on that Monday through Sunday. And then, of course, if you work one-on-one with me, I will need that information. But what you can do right now is 3 things. First, and I have described this here, the first thing you can do is regulate before you connect. What does it mean? It means that first, before you connect with other people, please calm down I keep saying this, I keep talking about this, calm down your nervous system. I have all the techniques. Week 1, particularly how you calm your amygdala, how you calm your vagus nerve, all of my techniques, how you calm down your nervous system and get your brain. Not here, you don't need so much your alpha state, that's not, it's a different thing, but you can even get to the alpha state to calm yourself down further, but calm your nervous system down, especially for people like us with neurohypersensitivity. It is absolutely critical. And how you get those, all the techniques, they're all on my website, draygenshahin.com/courses. Even these entire master classes, 52 weeks, they are already, the 1 to 20 are already living there on my website. At the NHS neuroplasticity program, all of these master classes are living there, right, with all the protocols, all the audits included. Okay, so they are currently on the founder's price, so you can get in there as soon as possible before the founder sales end. Okay, so a huge deal, because not only 52 master classes, but also 2 times 52 additional intuitive insights and cognitive focus for every week, but also what the workbook guided journaling that we do together in a calm, relaxed environment. We do this together every Sunday. So they're all in there, they're all live on my website, not here. Okay, so join there so you will see how first you calm down your nervous system. So what you can do about it, again, these are all also in my NHS workbook. Download your workbook. I have my personal tips and tricks also spread out there, so you can definitely check that, how you calm yourself, what I personally like to do. So anything that helps you to calm yourself. For example, I keep saying it, I can't do meditation. 0. I can't do the Om thing. I can't. What I need to do is I take long walks outside, get out, fresh air. I highly recommend that. Sit on the park. If you want to do your meditation, do it outside or open the windows. Just get fresh air, oxygen. Do that, please. It's important for your serotonin to be expressed, okay? So take long walks or go biking safely or swim, or I don't know what you do, play with your children. Whatever it is that calms you down, make you happy. Do that, because that expresses the serotonin levels, okay, and that calms your amygdala and your vagus nerve. The second is redirect your attention outward, not like what am I doing, where I put my hands and fingers, how I come across. Focus more on the outside, on the other people, what they are doing, what they are saying. Just genuinely be interested in them. They will feel it. They will feel it because they feel it's not about you. Yeah, the fake YouTubers. Yep, exactly. So we will do the opposite. Not like me, like narcissistic way, like the fake woo-woo people also on YouTube, but also in genuinely be interested in other people. I mean, that 1000%, okay? And then 3, stop performing and start inhabitating. What it means is, again, the more you are faking it, okay, this has become a performance, because the performance, the fakeness, believe it or not, requires also the prefrontal cortex to be active. So it's a work, it's effort to do performance because the prefrontal cortex is involved. So let that sink in, okay? Now we exposed the fake people, okay? Their prefrontal cortex works a lot to perform, okay? But when you do inhabitating, where you are just present, like just there, no performance, it's just you, that releases that overperformance and overactivation of that prefrontal cortex. It frees it. It relaxes so that it can function normally. Okay, and actually can just stimulate that medial prefrontal cortex, not like this overworked prefrontal cortex due to the fakeness, the performance, how to come across to other people. Get that? Oh my God, so exciting. Now, are you ready for your assignment? For the core assignment this week is your attractiveness audit. So for Monday through Sunday, you will check your real life data and noted that really quick notes. There are not much spaces in the audit, so there are few sentences in each of the questions you fill. Really takes like 2 minutes to fill every day, but generally you have to be really, all of my audits, you have to be accurate, you have to be genuinely writing those and filling those, because that, if you fake it, what's the point, right? I can't help you. And you can help yourself if you fake it. So you have to really genuinely write it down. And some of the things that I'm asking you there is your genuine presence, not how I come across, but genuine presence in the situation, and in which moments you feel like your genuine presence collapsed and you started to self-monitor. What was those triggers? Those are important stuff, so we will work on those, okay? So you need to check both things. There are multiple other questions, but those are the main, the idea to give you the idea of what you are checking, tracking here, because then we can assess your brain state and how to work on that, okay? So again, if you want to book the one-on-one with me, we can do 1 hour, or we can do this under the Scientist Total Health Transformation. Together with your health regulation audit, we can create a protocol, and I will monitor for you this for 4 weeks, okay? And we'll give you the protocols, give you the assignment, what you need to do, how you change your life and to be effective, and I will be working with you closely. The other one, the power hour, is literally 1 hour. You tell me your issues, you tell me for 30 minutes, we talk about your issues and what you want to solve, and I will solve your issue right there at that moment. If so you want something quick, one question, one problem, on one answer, we can do that. But also if you want to really, and based on really what's going on, there might be some compact issue that we need to address, and I will follow up with you. And even with the 4-week program, I generally see with the total health transformation, within 48 hours, I already see total changes. So I mean, Amber can attest to that. When she was with our second cohort of our 30-day Journal with Me challenge, where I taught all of my techniques of calming down our nervous system, for the first 10 days we were done. Okay, she was done, we were done. Like after that it was just like literally automatic. It was just so amazing. So this works, okay, because again, not only my clients but also my students, my clients, but even elderlies or up to 70 plus years old, but also again I saved my own life, okay, based on my protocols. So now in closing, I want to say that again, attractiveness, there's only tiny part of it that is maybe integrated, but the rest of it is totally your brain and your nervous system state, okay? And this is exactly what you can influence, has nothing to do with how you look, how you, I don't know, what makeup you put on, what clothes you put on, how much you fake it, right? The YouTubers, how much you fake it. No, it's literally your brain state and how you can influence it to make it happen. I also taught you 3 techniques, and we have the audit. So I'm really genuinely interested how you answered that very beginning question. What triggered that question in you? Write down, if you feel comfortable, in the comments. Also, maybe you can go over my website and send me a message privately so that I know what really is happening there, what triggered that. So please go back. Hopefully the whole time you had this in your mind, that triggering thing or the answer you had in your mind, and throughout the video you said, aha, whoa, okay, I didn't know that. Write those in the comments as well. What was your aha moment? Like, whoa, I didn't know that. That's unbelievable. And I'm pretty sure you have multiple things, like, right, very interesting stuff going on here. So I want you to write that down in the comment section. Of course, like this video, subscribe, and don't miss next week, week 22. You can make this stuff up. The second of the bundle is I am beautiful. Why? Because I am attractive and I am beautiful have 2 separate brain regions. One is not equal to the other, and we will cover that in the next week's masterclass. So subscribe if you haven't already, hit the bell icon, and of course like and share this with your friends and family. Let them know what being attractive really means, and do the service like that for humanity, for people, and against the beauty industry, because they don't teach you that. I do. We teach this here and in our community. Take care. Have a fabulous day. Download your audit. I will see you